Hey friends, Jeff here with mixpractice.com and missionmusician.com. Got another 31 mix tips and 31 days tutorial for you here. So let's get right to it. Alright, so in this tutorial, I want to talk about mix bus processing. So in order to understand what mix bus processing is, you need to know what a mix bus is. So depending on what part of the country you're from, you've heard it described as a 2-bus, a submix, a mix bus, whatever. All you need to know for this tutorial is all these tracks feed into one stereo auxiliary track that is called a mix bus, a 2-bus, submix. I tend to call it a submix. So all my tracks are feeding into this 2-track, the stereo aux channel, and we can take advantage of that by processing this track. Now, how I like to do it is at the very start of the mix, and here's why. I tend to find that if I try to throw on a compressor at the end of the mix or an EQ at the end of the mix, my mix can fall apart. I mix through these plugins, so before I even put one single plugin on any of these channels, I am processing my mix bus first. All right, now you see these trim plugins. This is a very, very old session. This is how I used to gain stage before Clip Game came along in Pro Tools, so that's why you see these. All right, so and this is also a great way to get your mix to sound better right off the bat, which leads to maybe not as much processing. Man, I cannot talk. Not as much processing on the individual tracks themselves, right? So it gives your mix a lift before you even get started. And I typically use EQ, compression, console emulation, and a tape emulation. That's what's normally on my mix bus. All right, so as I said, this is an older session, and I just literally opened up a session that said rough balance. So I'm assuming that this is a rough mix. I guess I should have checked it. So let's just listen together really quick, and then we'll start processing. There's nothing on these at the moment. So here we go. And I will say that I generally like to use a compressor that has a high-pass filter on it, so the kick and the bass drum aren't triggering the compressor as much. And I'll roll it up quite a bit. All right, so here we go. I'm not doing a lot of compression here. I'm just trying to glue the track together. All right, let's move along here. I feel like the kick is a little loud in this rough mix, but let's finish this out here really quick. Let's throw on VTM. And it's important to note that I'm using the 1/2" 2-track to simulate going out to a 2-track tape machine.
Till someday when we meet again. Remember those days of yesteryears gone. The time will stand still once again.
All right, so let's just listen to what we've done here really quick, and I'll wrap this up.
Till someday when we meet.
Sounds kind of dull and lifeless.
Till someday when we meet again. Remember those days of yesteryears gone. The time will stand still once again. And I see you in North Carolina.
All right, so it already sounds better, leading to possibly less processing on the individual channels. And I always start my mix right here at the mix bus, which is going to lead, this is kind of a top-down mixing method, which is going to lead into tomorrow where I talk about top-down mixing. A little spoiler alert there for you. So anyway, if you're not processing on your mix bus, you should. It's a great way to get your mix started. Give it a little lift before you start actually mixing. And so that's it for today's tip. I will see you tomorrow in another 31 mix tips in 31 days. And like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.